Okay, so we're back here, and I've let this plastic stay on overnight, so it's had about 16 hours to keep in the moisture of the Citristrip here. And again, this is a fiberglass door, and we're trying to remove a oil-based gel stain that was applied 6 or 7 years ago here. So I'll put this down here. And once again, we're going to remove the plastic here. So we'll grab it from the top here and pull towards the middle, and then I'll go up to the bottom and pull up towards the middle, and then pull straight out. And I'm gonna put this in the trash can right here. Okay, so again, I'm gonna grab my plastic anvil 2-inch plastic putty knife here, and again, we're gonna use the plastic in lieu of the metal, because we don't want the metal to scrape up the fiberglass door here. So if you want the camera just to get a little bit closer here to see the Citristrip and what it looks like on the surface here. So I'm going to take my box here, and we're just going to scrape out here. And scrape up. And wow, that really did a good job in loosening up this material here to the point where it's basically all coming off here. Okay. So I'm gonna put this down here, and now I'm gonna take my scouring pad here, and I have 2 different types of paint thinners. They're both by Clean Strip. This is a greener product, and it's lower fumes. And then we also have this one right here, which is the older one that has a lot more fumes and is stronger. And again, they're both made by Clean Strip here. So we're gonna start with the first one here with the low odor, and I'm just gonna apply some of the paint thinner here, and we're gonna clean the surface. Now this is gonna hopefully, so this is gonna get rid of all the stain that's in the grooves and whatnot. And you can see it right before your eyes here, how it's getting rid of that. Okay, and this paint thinner is also going to remove the excess of the Citristrip too. Okay, so that's what it looks like there, and we're right down to the beer wood, or the beer fiberglass door there. So as you can see, it is removing all of the gel stain there. Okay, so I think that did a great job in removing the stain there. So what I'm going to do is go around and do the same thing that I just did to this area here to the rest of the door. Okay, so we'll see you on the next one. Hello and welcome back here. So this is the finished product right here. And as you can see, or as you can tell from the time lapse that you just watched, you can see that I used a lot of elbow grease. And for those of you that don't understand the term elbow grease, it means a lot of pressure trying to remove the stain here. But again, this is the finished product, and I'm happy with the way that it came out. Now, this door is going to be restained again, so we didn't nearly need to get rid of all of the stain, and there is some stain that is kind of in the sunken in grain and in the corners, but I did the best that I could, especially with the corners, by using my 5-in-1 tool. And for those that don't know what a 5-in-1, it's a painter's tool. It has 5 tools on it, and I use the edge of it to get into the corners here. You can also use a Q-tip or a flathead with like a rag on it, which will help with the corners here. But again, this door is going to be restained in the same stain that it was stained in BBF4, so there's no need to try to get rid of 100% of it. But if you definitely were going to stain it a lighter shade than it previously was, and for those of you that don't remember what it used to look like, just go back to the first few videos and look down here where the kick plate was, and it was dark. I think it was a dark mahogany. Or look up here, because this was protected by the door here. So the glass is here and the door is there. So this part really didn't get the exposure to the sun or the exposure to the harmful UV rays that come from the sun. So to recap here, we used the Citristrip, and this is a stripping gel, and this is a safe product to use on, once again, on a fiberglass door. This isn't a steel door or a wooden door or a metal door or an aluminum door. It's a fiberglass door. In a fiberglass door, you can't use a lot of the products that they sell at Home Depot, the products that are meant to strip oil, because they're just too abrasive or they're too harsh for the fiberglass. So you have to use a product that isn't going to ruin the door in the first place. Okay, so my thoughts on this stuff right here, I think that this did a great job in removing the polyurethane or the varnish that comes in the gel stain. Okay, but as far as the stain itself, especially in the middle of the door where it got all the sunlight, where the sunlight, it deteriorated the polyurethane or the varnish after all the years, and what we were left with was just the stain. And the sun basically cooked the stain into the grain of the, or like the fibers, not really fibers, the fake grain of the fiberglass door, because there's these small indentures here, and the sunlight really cooked it in there. And when I reapplied this time after time again, and I probably reapplied this probably 4 or 5 times, so this wasn't just like a one-shot deal where you put this on and then you go to work and it all comes off. I had to reapply this 4 or 5 times. But again, I think that this did a good job in removing the top layer or the varnish or the polyurethane, but it didn't do so great with the stain. Okay, so I'll put this down here. So what helped to remove the stain was the paint thinner here, and this is made by Clean Strip. And again, this is a green paint strip, which means that there's a lower content of fumes, and it says on the back, no hazardous air pollutants. Okay, so this doesn't smell as bad as this right here. And this is the older stuff. And it's also made by Clean Strip. I tried them out both, and one didn't perform better than the other. So in that case, I would just stick to using the greener stuff, which again, there's lower fumes in it. And so this is what I used along with the 3M scoring pad. So this is what I used to remove the stain that was baked in the door, especially in the center of the door. And you could see through the time lapse that I did, like how much scrubbing that I had to do. And I probably went through about 10 to 15 of these pads, or of these packs, and these packs come in two. So if you're planning to do this, I would buy a lot of these, because once these get gummed up with especially the polyurethane or the varnish, or even the stain gets gummed up, like there's no way to get rid of that, and it's just easier just to throw it in the trash. So make sure that you buy a lot of these and take advantage of using both sides here, okay? And again, it's very important to actually put down the X-Board here, this right here. So if you spill anything onto it, like paint thinner or the varnish or the stain starts to drip down, which it will, make sure that this is at the base of the floor. And then what I also did was I also put another piece of plastic down here so that whatever did fall down, it wasn't falling right onto this, it was falling onto the plastic. And then all you do is just take the plastic and fold it up and throw it in the trash, and then you're done with that. Okay, so make sure that you protect the floors. And to cover the door after I applied the gel stain, I just used the irregular painter's plastic here, and I got this at Sherwin-Williams here. Yeah, so this is very important, because when you apply the stripper, especially if it's a hot day, or if the door gets a lot of light, I try to cancel away some of the light by putting up the painter's plastic in the first place. But the plastic is important, because after you put the stripper on, you definitely want to cover it to keep the moisture in there so it doesn't dry on the door. And the plastic is useful too if you just want to let it sit overnight. And I did that in one of the videos. I just let it sit overnight, and it had like 16 hours to stay on the surface here. Okay, so some of the other tools that I used, and also all these tools and materials that I used on this fiberglass door, I will link in the description of this video, so you can purchase them either through my online store or directly through Home Depot or Lowe's. I got these products at Home Depot and Lowe's, and obviously the plastic was from Sherwin-Williams. So again, the scrapers that I use the plastic ones here. And these, of course, the name is Anvil, but it doesn't really matter. Like you can buy whatever type of plastic ones. And I just bought a 3-pack, and the 3-pack comes with a 1.5, a 3-inch, and a 6-inch knife here. I didn't use the 6. I started off with the 3. But in the end, I went out and bought a 2-inch. And I find that the 2-inch worked better than the 3-inch, because the 3-inch was kind of too wide and didn't really pick up any of the gel stain from the stripper in like the middle of the blade, so that's why I lowered it down to a 2-inch. Okay, and the brush that I used was a Corona 3-inch Chinex brush here to apply it, and I also used a roller too to like apply it, and the roller just helps apply it real fast, whereas the brush you have to but you can use either a brush or a roller here. And again, this is the Citristrip gel that I use to remove the gel stain here. So I hope that you enjoyed these set of videos, and just know that whenever you stain a fiberglass door after a few years, you're going to have to strip it if you want to reapply a gel stain. If you don't want to strip the door, then you can just give it a sand and then use an oil primer, and then once the oil primer is on there, then you could switch over to either a latex paint or even a oil-based paint. But again, if you're purchasing a fiberglass door, just know that it's not maintenance free, and that is if you want to apply a stain to it, and just know that you're going to have to strip it in the future. So I hope that these are some tips and techniques that will help you out to take care of your own needs. So thank you very much for watching the videos. And again, I will list all the products and the materials that I use in the description of this video. So until the next time,